them both. My question is, if you've only ever been shown the Kyun, how can you know if that is your true self?
Certainty is the Kyun.
Is it, though? Who made the Kyun?
That would be our greatest scholar, Ashkari Kozloon.
And does he embody every single sentient being in the world? Because if so, then he's right. But to me, he sounds like a very smart man. But a man who, and perhaps he thought this, or perhaps it's his teachings that have been thought this way, but a man who sees himself as having the single solution has the perfect solution for himself. But that same solution could be a death sentence to another. And to my view, it's up to each individual person to find their solution. And maybe it's one already made, like the Kyun. Maybe it's one to be forged, like Tyrann's.
I will think on this, Datham. Thank you for the chat. And again, I think she goes to pat you on the shoulder and then is like, no, air pats again, because he doesn't like being touched.
Yeah. And as she kind of does and maybe starts to leave off, he would say,
oh, and the second point, I am a monster. That is my true self. I'm not rejecting it. But I'm trying to ensure that the monster can do at least a little good before it's put down.
She turns and she has a bit of a frown upon hearing this. There is a story under the Kyun. I won't bore you with all of it. I know that my stories are not that great. Russo hated my bedtime stories.
In consolation, I find it interesting.
Thank you. But the Ashkari saw in the desert a group of locusts take flight in the sky, and he followed the path of devastation. People were left miserable by their passing, and yet the next part is far more eloquent in Kyunlat, I promise you. But effectively, we cannot blame the locusts for being locusts. It is simply in their nature. And I think she will do a good evening bow, and she's going to walk away with that. There we go.
And as she steps away, Daretham stands there, having had now 2 people call him out. And Rousseau made him think. And then as he thinks on Pasha's words, those locusts are replaced with hordes of darkspawn. And he sees the blights. And though I don't know if darkspawn can physically cry, he does silently sob. And last little note, his hand at that does slowly lean to rest down on the red handkerchief.
Oh, how sweet. Beautiful scenes, guys. Beautiful scenes. All right.
I love discussing philosophy. That's fun.
In-game, Pasha has spent a lot of time writing Valor. I would like to give Pasha +2 to her animal writing checks, specifically for griffins. This is a focus on griffins, so +2 whenever you write a griffin. I do want to move things along, so finally we get to Leon again, and I don't know if you wanted to narrate what is going on in Leon's nightmare?
We'll open on the scene of Leon is at his desk taking a test in the circle. It's about different types of magic, history of magic. This is basic stuff. He's breezing through it. And on one of the pages, it starts talking about blood magic. Signs of when blood magic has happened, what you should do, how you should handle blood mages, what the circle mages. And it just hits him. He's writing answers in there, but he's realizing that he's writing about what the Templar should do to him. What should you do when you find a blood mage? You should report it to the Templars. Get up a regiment of Templars based off of how dangerous the blood mage is and kill them. Destroy everything they've done. Burn it. Kill all their accomplices. Tear it out by the root. He's realizing he's writing about himself. This is what he's going to do to himself. This is what the Templars, what the Magi are going to do to him. And then Deem walks up and asks, How could you do this? She starts bleeding. Why would you do this? Why? This isn't you. Why? Give me back my friend. Give me back the Tyrion, the Leon that I know so much. She's bleeding out of all of her orifices. Why? Leon sort of appalled falls back in his chair. No, this isn't what I want. His parents are behind him saying, yes, use her blood, Leon. Ruin her. Kill her. Sacrifice. No, this isn't you. Why would you? And he's crying. He's sort of trying to walk back, crawling on the ground. Why would you do this to me? Leon, why? And he is unable to move anymore. He's unable to take the reality of what blood magic could do to those around him. I can't. Why? And he closes his eyes, but we hear Pyrrhus. Now take the blood and sacrifice her. A perfect sacrifice. and Leon's like, but I can't. She's Nazim. Why? And then he's asked, but don't you want to know what happened to us? His parents come up behind him, sort of embracing him from behind, but not in a kind way, in a firm sort of way. Now find out why. Use your heritage. Feel that thrum of power. Enjoy it. It's the one special gift we left you. No one can stand in your way. Use it against them. No, this isn't you. Why? But he feels the power course through him, and it feels good. He can do a lot with it. He can vanquish his enemies, but that also involves giving up who he is. And he wakes up with a start. Sort of clutches his knees up to his chest in his bed.
I'm going to say that Tyrion, you will actually be awakened just before Leon wakes up, and I'm going to say that you will witness Leon wake up and panting heavily, and you definitely believe that he had a very awful nightmare.
Nightmares? Cast it, Leon.
Yeah. A bit of one. Suppose you don't have any remedy or advice?
I might if I search around, but, well, it's up to you if you want it. I used to have them, and that didn't really help much.
Well, I guess just get an early start this morning.
No worries. No worries, it happens. Was it that bad?
Yeah, but it's fine. It's fine. I can.
You don't sound fine.
I'll just. Well, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Let's see if the rec room is open. Maybe you can practice some of your throwing skills with that plane.
Oh man, yeah, I sorely need it. You know, that courtroom sort of almost got me.
Come on, I get up and I will show him to there. But that's probably something happening on the side, I imagine.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that you guys are going to the rec room, and as you are making your way to the rec room wagon, you hear a rumble of thunder in the distance, and you feel droplets of water starting to fall. It feels like a storm may start to come. Not quite here yet. And early that morning, we're going to say that sometime after breakfast, every one of the avatars starts hearing some singing again in their heads. And it's getting louder and louder fairly quickly, like more quickly than it has in the past. And I would like for everyone to make a perception, seeing or hearing, whichever is higher for them. Seeing or hearing, whichever is higher.
Good at both.
Oh!
I'm good at boats.
I got a 9.
Well,
18 with 6 stump points.
Wow.
Pasha, I'm going to say that you look out the window of your wagon and you see in the distance this large figure in the sky moving towards the general direction of the caravan. The caravan's still moving. And you distinctly will notice first from a far distance that this is a lizard winged like shape flapping its wings, and based on the distance and the size of how it looks like from a distance, this looks huge, like a big dragon. The dragon is flying not straight for the caravan, but it looks like it's going to be like crossing the path of the caravan, and
Like
fairly
that.
clearly, yeah, like that. It doesn't seem to care about your caravan. It seems to be passing through. But eventually, anyone who has a 12 will notice. It's kind of hard to notice this dragon flying by. Everyone who was not Rousseau, because I think everyone who was not Rousseau was doing dragon studying at the library of Pentagast, will recognize this breed to be a Vinsomer. According to legend, a Vinsomer is an especially large Vinsomer was the last dragon felled by the hand of Caspar Pentagast. In Navaran poetry, its breath alone caused thunderstorms, and its wings formed hurricanes. Modern Vinsomer no longer grow to the same length, but are wary, dangerous, and usually prefer isolated high and rocky coasts. Now this Vinsomer, I'm going to say that Pasha especially, and I'll say Leon because Leon is a scholarly person, will recognize this to be a high dragon. Very powerful. So,
We're gonna go fight it, guys, right? We're gonna go fight it?
you tell me if you want to fight it. But it flies over, and we're gonna say that there's like a rocky, like, is the word bluff correct? Like not like a cliff or a bluff or whatever that kind of rises up.
I don't know.
Anyway, it'll like perch itself up on this upper cliff like looking thing. That again, the caravan
Like
is just,
Coast, one of those high.
yeah, exactly one of those high things, and it's just surveying the area. It notices the caravan, but it's not like eyeing the caravan. Like it just, I see that you're there. Whatever. I'm just surveying the area.
I'm not pooning noobs today, guys. You're fine.
And I guess I'm going to say that the caravan will pull up, away from the dragon, but still will stop at a point that is clearly, you can still clearly see the dragon perched, but it'll stop, and then you guys can react or do something or stay in your wagons. I don't know, but clearly this dragon was noticed by the rest of the caravan and the circus, not just the 5 of you.
Wow,
I think
that's
Pasha would be running to be like, everyone, dragon.
Yeah, Daretham eventually, he's been in a stupor, thinking in his own mind for a while now. But he's eventually roused by someone else shaking him, and he looks up, sees the dragon.
Oh,
Master Ignaldo will come out of the wagon, and by this point the rain is not pouring, but it's drizzling down,
Mm-hmm.
and you can still hear the rumble of thunder in the sky. And he's going to look around and say, "That's a huge dragon. Looks like a job for the dragon hunters, hey?"
we're not fucking fighting that thing, Master Ignaldo.
Sorry, my apologies. I thought that's what you did. I thought that was your calling.
Just because we killed like dragons that are horse-sized doesn't mean we can kill one that's castle-sized.
Yeah, Rosie says, looking at that thing, maybe we need to do some grinding or leveling first before we can attack that thing.
Come again.
Grinding or leveling?
And he
Nathan
kind of looks
says.
over to Rosie, and he's like,
Yeah,
In those tabletop games where you have the side boss battle.
Yeah.
You need to go do the other side quest before coming back here to the boss battle.
Oh, he says, I know those. He says, I play those tabletop games all the time.
Yeah.
so
I was just going to say, I'm all down for killing that thing so that it doesn't eat livestock and go on a terror spree. Also, apparently they can make hurricanes, which is horrific, but it is rather big.
I don't really feel like any of us are ready for that yet.
Yeah, I mean,
That's okay, I guess. It's tempting, but we could just, check off on our map that it's in this area and come back when we're, what was it, grinding, leveled up?
Yes.
Nathan says.
Or say, I don't know, level
experience.
around 14, something like that.
Yeah.
Out of a scale of 20.
also a moral quandary for this particular case is that tablet said that when the scaled ones become ascendant, they turn into dragons.
Right, it could be possible.
And we...
Wait, haven't scaled ones been extinct for like thousands of years?
Right, you weren't there. Okay.
And then I will fill in Rousseau on the whole debacle.
While you're explaining everything to Rousseau, I think Darren is going to emerge from the wagon, in addition to Mai and Ty, because right now Rosie and Darren and Mai and Ty are now bunking together. And the twins look like hug each other because they look absolutely terrified of that thing. And Darren looks up at it. She sizes it up. Yeah, no. Darren says, "I'm not signing."
Like
up for that."
he looks over and goes,
That's what I said, and then this guy.
Oh, she must be the new person.
Rousseau, Darren Rousseau.
Nice to meet you. To be perfectly honest, nobody has said anything about you.
Ouch.
Yeah.
She did sort of try to murder or kidnap Tyrion, so we just wanted to semi-play it safe.
Kidnap, technically.
Kidnap, yeah.
Not kidnap, return. The proper word was return.
Yeah.
Okay.
Return or kidnap. Same thing.
Right.
Return, Rosie says, all looking offended. Like a library book, you mean? Well, if you want to put it that way, Darren says, looking at Rosie. And Rosie looks a little,
Okay.
catfightish at the moment.
All right. Anyway, there's a big dragon over there. I mean, I'm not. We either do it now or we do it a later time. It's a big fucking dragon. God, I'm gonna have to resupply my bandages up so much back at the caravan.
We could also try to communicate with it. The tablet did say something about that they could sense the chi in each other and communicate over long distances. We hear the singing.
However, do you feel comfortable enough for if it is wanting to attack to be able to get the fuck away?
We would not survive.
That would be a thought to have.
We could try doing that from down here. The tablet said they can communicate over long distances. It's not that far away. It's only up there.
Which also means it's easily in flight distance to get to us.
And we are tasty.
Yes.
Maybe don't. I mean, no. Just we either have to do this now, or we go and do other things. But who knows what it will do? It might not even be there.
Yeah, dragons are known to sort of fly around.
I think it's probably best from now if we just let this one be. It's not killing anyone right now.
It's a beautiful creature, though, Rosie says. Scary, but beautiful.
Most things in nature are scary and beautiful. Take a waterfall, for instance. You'll die if you go off it, but it looks beautiful from a distance.
Well, if we're not going to fight now, which is fine, we then best to continue on, I guess, for now, until we get prepared against it.
Master Ignaldo looks somewhat disappointed at this, but then he says, "Well, very well. Then the caravan will continue on, then."
Master Ignaldo, where specifically are we stopping by any chance for whatever?
You tell me. I assumed you were going to at least head straight for Val Royeaux, but you tell me.
That is the intended destination, yes. Isn't that where the... I kind of look at Leon, is that where the Circle of Magi is? I kind of somewhat whisper, make sure it's...
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah, then Val Royeaux it is.
Pasha was just going to step up and say, if there's any chance we could make our way through the Dales, I'd be
Dales are
appreciative.
past Val Royeaux.
Oh, they're on the other side then, that's fine.
The other side. The Dales would be if you're on your way, like,
To
towards
Ferelden.
to Ferelden.
Yeah.
Aha. I should have a map.
So I think that Nathan will also pipe up and says, "Oh, well, if we're going to Val Royeaux, maybe I can stop by the University of Orlais and see if Cersei's around. I've been meaning to give him a report on my findings for my prototype."
Well, if nothing else, we could get you resupplied.
True. Much appreciated, especially if we're eventually coming back for that, he says, pointing at the dragon.
Don't remind me.
Is there like a trebuchet or like a catapult that can throw some gatlock at it? Maybe that'll help.
Why not just have Valor drop Gatlock barrels on it?
Yeah, but do you think Valor can outfly a dragon?
I mean, it did it for over 500 years.
Oh, okay.
Terrible barb. Tyrion looks over at Pasha. Hey, Pasha.
Mhm.
The person you want to meet, is it also? Are they also in Val Royeaux?
I believe Dandelion is.
When I hear that, I pipe up and I probably me and Darren look at each other.
Yeah, Darren both look towards you.
And I look over and I would say,
What was that name, Pasha?
Dandelion.
Is there? Do you?
It's an uncommon name, I know, but
No, it's not a common name at all.
And I would
Darren
look
says.
over to Darren and I would say,
Darren, perhaps you could describe your friend.
She'll say, relatively handsome young man, or young at least, when I knew him. Blondish hair, lightish hair, gray eyes.
Pasha rounds on Darren, and she's walking, and he had a birthmark in the shape of, it was like a little splotch on his upper arm. He had a.
Oh, I think I might have noticed that once before. Yes.
Where was this? When was this? And she's getting right up in Darren's space. It's
as Pasha,
it's not like I'm gonna do you harm. It's just like I need to know.
Yeah, as Pasha does, Daretham's going to put his staff in, and not harshly, but just gently, just lean her back.
Yeah.
Pasha. Tyrion probably would do that too, but you notice that Daretham actually would do it pretty quickly. He kind of steps next to Darren and pushes her just a little bit away.
Pasha, personal space.
Pasha's eyes kind of flicker, I've heard you, but she's not saying anything. Her eyes very quickly return to Darren, and again, where was this? When was this?
This was back into winter. We were, I guess we could call it friends. I mean, he was a little bit older than I was, but he was a servant of my master Alexius, just like I was, at least for a time, until he earned his citizenship through indentured servitude. I believe he ended up getting his citizenship 8 years ago.
Pasha steps back, and there's a lot of emotion going on in her face. There's her brow is crinkling into this grotesque frown, but then it's kind of she's very quickly swapping between outrage, complete sorrow. There's a bit of joy mixed in there, and it's all kind of swirling.
As kind of the outrage happens, Daretham does step a tiny bit in front of Darren, just instinctively, but otherwise would just say nothing.
Mm.
What did Russo want to say?
No, I was just saying I'm gonna very slowly go up to Pasha and just kind of wrap my arms around her I get what you're going through right now. This is who you meant back in Activa, isn't it?
She doesn't... I don't think she says anything. She like accepts the hug, but like she raises her fist, and I think she like, you know, just like it's probably not that hard, but like she just like kind of slams it down onto Russo's chest, and there's, because from what's happening in Pasha's brain, it's like this is the closest she's been to Dandelion. Like at some point Darren will have like, you know, like touched him, not in any like kind of dodgy way, but like she might have like tapped his shoulder or whatever. It's like she could very easily reach out, tap Darren, and it's like by osmosis you have touched Dandelion almost, and she's just completely overwhelmed with the fact of like he's so close, but so far, but so close. And I think her body shudders, like, you know, like, oh, she's like, it's like I'm about to start crying, and it's like, you know, one of those like full body, like where like it's not just, you know, relegated to your face, it's like an all-encompassing like sob. And then I think she kind of covers her face, and she kind of pushes back from Russo in a kind of like, and she just stands there for like a minute, like doing very deep breathing. And I think I'm fine. And I think,
Are you sure?
she looks up at Russo and she nods. There's like a lot of pain there, but she still nods, and I think at that she's gonna go and find Valor. She walks away. She's like, I need to think. And
as she leaves, okay, Ignaldo, get us moving to Valerio, please.
Right. All right. We're gonna go and continue forth.
And as they're kind of dispersing, Darren would also just quickly glance over to Darren and say,
You okay?
She just took me by surprise. That all of a sudden she just, well, had this look on her eyes as if I better give her answers or else.
She can be intense, but it's good that you're all right.
What was his name again?
Dandelion.
Okay. When I first ran back into Pasha, she said she was looking for someone of utmost importance. That must be it.
But, I mean, it could just be a coincidence too, but Dandelion I don't think is a very common name, and...
You seem to recognize your description too.
Well, if she's been searching for this person, I'm not really sure how much more help I can be. As I said, we were friends, but I wouldn't say we were particularly close. We weren't like best friends or anything. Like I said, he was a bit older than I was, and he got his citizenship way before I did. I don't think I've actually seen him in the last at least 5 years.
So, just going off the timeline, he was a slave when you met him, and Pasha's never left the, oh gosh.
She's never left
Arvalin.
She never.
Arvalin.
Her child was taken.
The only time she
So-
left.
Dandelion was taken back in... Dandelion was taken back in 926. After 15 years, he earned his citizenship in 941.
Okay.
And at that point, I think he was 20, like 2021 at that point.
Tyrion just kind of blurts out, Dandelion was one of her wards. She was trying to take care of her until they took her. They took him.
His age, it must have been like maybe her first or second sort of
That put him slightly
Children.
older than me.
She must mean a lot to Pasha.
A lot.
He didn't speak much about his past, so I did never really pry, to be perfectly honest. But he was always very good to me and nice to me. And he
Yeah.
was the one who encouraged me to continue continue head first into in my indentured servitude.
Darren, if you would see Dandelion today, would you still recognize him? Do you think?
Possibly. I mean, it's been 5 years, but unless he completely changed his appearance, possibly.
I think when Pasha goes looking for him, maybe you should come along too.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose, if I can be of some help, I can be of some help to... That's what I do, right? Return people back to their owners.
I'm worried that this will not be a happy reunion, or Pasha will not get the answer she seeks from Dandelion.
Speaking of which, I'll go check on her.
Rousseau, you go looking for Pasha in Valor's wagon, your wagon.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What happens?
Gonna just slowly walk up to the door and lean in.
Pasha is... She's actually tacking Valor up. Like, I'm a go on a griffin ride in a thunderstorm. That won't have negative consequences.
With a dragon, high dragon, right there. Yes.
I totally am not a flying target. Like, she's tacking her up, and
Valor seems to be ready to go. Like, she doesn't seem to be fazed by the storm. She's like, whatever, I can do a storm. She hasn't seen the dragon yet, though.
and I think Pasha would maybe hear the creak of the door, and she does like a very quick like turn, sees it's Rousseau, and her body kind of loosens up. I think her tears are quite wet, and it's very obvious she's like been crying, and that she kind of is still crying, but it's like, you know, like, I know this, like, I've seen this, you know, guy's a small child. I don't mind crying in front of him. If it was one of the others, but like this one, don't mind. And she sees it's Rousseau, and she goes back to tacking up Valor.
I don't think that'd be wise right now, Pasha.
Her hand kind of lies on the saddle, and I'm not sure if it would be wise either, but I call it a foolish woman's sense of pride. If I'm up there, then at least I can blame the storm clouds.
I'm not going to sugarcoat or say this is what I've had to deal with, but Pasha, if you really want any chance of seeing Dandelion again, I think you need to collect yourself and go with the rest of us.
Oh, I'm my dear, I'm not saying I won't go with the rest of you. Don't. This isn't some suicide mission. Don't get me wrong. I'm not that stupid, but just 5 minutes with the wind in my hair.
And I don't think running away from this is a good idea either.
I am sorry for the outburst there. It's... And she turns, like, she... It's like a very quick turn, but it's not like an angry turn, it's like a desperate turn. There's definitely an air of desperation about Pasha right now. And she's... Rousseau, do not take this the wrong way. I do not mean this to upset you or to insult you, but imagine if someone took Balin and you spent your entire life, the rest of your life, searching for him, and he was nowhere. It was like he had simply vanished off of the face of Thedas itself, and no matter what you did, or what you said, or who you spoke to, you couldn't find him. And then suddenly, out of the blue, you're staring up at a dragon, and some random lady says, "Oh, yes, I knew Dandelion. It's... oh, Balin, excuse me, my head all over the place." Some random lady says, I know Balin, and suddenly he's not a million miles away. He's not God's nowhere. He's within touching distance. He's just out of your arm's reach. And it's wonderful and terrible and frustrating. And I have spent 23 years looking for him. And he's close. He's so close. But yet, so far.
I'm not going to make any judgment for the outburst, Pasha. Everything you felt there and did was absolutely normal. If, like you said, were it Balin, I'd probably have taken it worse than you. We're gonna find him, and I swear, on Lyra's grave, you'll get that chance. Just, I don't want you pointlessly hurting yourself before then.
Oh, don't worry about me, Rousseau dear. And I think she's gonna take one of Rousseau's hands and she's gonna very gently like cup his face and just like pat his cheek a little and don't worry about me, dear. I'm fine. I will be fine. I just... "5 minutes.
No griffin riding?
You can come with me if you'd like.
Okay. Let's go.
Okay. And Pasha is using the same trick that she used with Tyrion, with the rope, tying it, like, so, because the saddle only fits one. So she's gonna get on, and she's gonna lead Vala out. They're staying up the hell away from the dragon. They are giving that a wide berth.
Yeah, good idea.
Like, don't worry, it's not like we're gonna go and like boop the dragon.
Right, just boop. Yeah.
They're giving the dragon a very wide berth. Pasha's not taking like any risks given the fact that she's never flown Vala in a storm. So it's like trying to do loop-de-loops now would be incredibly stupid. She's just flying, maintaining an altitude, and she's just kind of letting the wind and the rain hit her face to kind of disguise the fact that I think she is crying.
Yes. Go ahead and roll me, and remember your +2 bonus. Go ahead and roll me your ride check.
I've added that onto my sheet. That is a 14.
Wonderful. Okay. So, and I think I missed this part. Is it you and Russo?
It is. Yeah.
Okay. So, for Russo, again, it is not going to be as smooth of a ride as it is for Pasha, but it's not like it's not like that at all. And there's just something again about the wind against your face and the light droplets. It's not pouring rain, it's just light droplets just like washing over your faces that just gives you a, the air is crisp and it just gives you a very detoxifying feeling. And as Pasha has described, you feel very free and alone, but in a good way, like free and alone in a good way, to let your head clear. And there is just something very refreshing, not only physically but mentally, especially given the crispness and the dampness of the air. The air smells. Now, the air quality itself, you can notice a difference, but despite that, it's a very freeing moment. And I'm going to say, because of that, both Pasha and Rousseau, for the next in-game day, because you're going to be in Orlais soon, you'll get a +1 bonus to any mental skill checks, any skill check that you can argue is mental versus physical. Okay?
I was just gonna say, as after the 5 minutes, Pasha will descend, but she's going to do kind of very slow loops around the caravans, because I presume the caravans are moving at this point.
Yeah.
And basically what she's trying to do is she's trying to give Balin long enough to be able to look out and be like, my daddy rode a griffin, and
yes.
just like, I'm gonna give them that gift.
Very cool. Yes, I will say that Balin will notice that, and he is very, very excited about that. All right. Cool.
Also, I will say, as she starts to circle and Balin kind of points out, I'll say, like, maybe I'm not actually in my cart, I'm kind of outside in a cover under the rain, and maybe I'm actually sitting, like, next to Darren or something like that, and I'd be I'm just sitting there with her, but I kind of see Balin shouting excitedly, and I'd see the griffin, smile, but then mostly look at Balin and have, like, a wistful smile, seeing his excitement, and Darren would see that next to me.
All right. Cool. Within a few hours, you finally will reach the outskirts of Val Royeaux, which is the capital of the Orlesian Empire. And by this point, the rain has not torrential downpour, but it's average strength rain. Clearly, if you don't have some protection, you're gonna get soaked within a few seconds. But
like Storm Coast rain, but everywhere.
Storm Coast rain, but everywhere. Yeah. Despite that, though, Orlais itself looks about as beautiful as you might have heard of. The main difference is that because of the violent storms that it tends to have, many of the structures have had to be reinforced, especially a lot of structures that may have had like flags and banners and other things, they just like gave up on that. And so they have, instead of having flags and banners, they've put up more like sturdy permanent structures, like wooden panels or things like that nature, just so that it can withstand the storms. And most of the buildings, especially like restaurants, for example, like their outdoor eating areas by default has, coverings or stuff that allows for people to still enjoy their food while it's raining, because water is definitely not a problem in this region. They get a lot of water. And I'm sure maybe in the back of Pasha's mind is like, wow, I wish we had this problem. They have all this water. So, but you'll be able to see the palace probably prominently in the distance somewhere. You'll be able to see a massive buildings on one side, which is the university, the University of Orlais, where again Nathan says that whatever you guys decide to do, whoever you decide to take with you, he wants to go into Orlais, and if he has to go on his own to see Cersei, he'll go on his own to see Cersei. So it's up to you if anyone wants to tag along with him. And you will also see probably the most arguably beautiful structure of them all. You could say rivals the palace itself is the Circle of Magi Tower. Because that is where the Grand Enchanter, the leader of all mages of the Circle, at least, Gwenaël resides. And Gwenaël is very Orlesian in the sense that he's got a sense of style, and so of all the circles that you've seen, it definitely is a sight to behold. And where Leon has called it home for so many years. And the last thing I will mention is that, yes, the current ruler of Orlais is Empress Celine. That has not changed. It is still Empress Celine. So, I guess I was just curious in asking, like, where is the group planning on going first, and who are you taking with NPC-wise?
Nathan Darren. I mean, I feel like that's...
Nathan Darren? Okay.
At least that's my vote.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. You're gonna take Nathan Darren. Where are you guys going first? The Circle?
Well, Leon wants to go see who this Cersei character is because, she seems pretty learned and she made some Gatlock pistols, so, it's gotta be pretty interesting.
Cersei's a he, sorry.
He.
Cersei,
oh, okay.
In this version.
Sorry, I'm so used to the
Cersei in
Odyssey,
Greek mythology is a female. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's female, I
So
understand.
then, since Nathan needs to go there anyway, we could go University, Spire, and then if we don't have anything from there, start looking for Dandelion.
All right. I'm going to say that as you guys are... Okay, so now the circus is going to get themselves set up because, hey, we're in, one of the largest, kingdoms in all of Thedas. Why not cash in?
Yeah, we can charge extra now because there's rich nobles.
We can... Yes, there's lots of nobles here.
And
so
they always want a
cha-ching.
spectacle.
Money.
Yeah, we're definitely inserting Master Ronaldo's theme song right here. Money, money, money. Okay. Okay, so you guys are going to make your way there, and I'm gonna say that the cool thing is that as you guys come out, Darren's outfit, one of her pieces of cloth kind of flies up above her and acts as an umbrella. So she's just walking around with this floating it looks like a parachute basically, but it's an umbrella.
Daretham is next to her and he looks over, looks at the umbrella, looks down at where his handkerchief is, and it's like,
I need to figure out how to make more of this.
Well, that's nifty.
As long as it's not holding me, that's good.
Because Nathan is a gentleman, he actually does have a parasol or umbrella of some sort, which he will open up and he will actually hold for Pasha, because he's a gentleman like that.
Pasha will, if it's big enough, she'll share the
I'll say so.
umbrella with Nathan.
I'll say so. You sure you don't want to bring Griffin with you into Orlais?
Yeah.
Well, one of these days you're gonna actually take Valor with you as an NPC party member, but that's okay. Maybe not right now.
It's too much attention right now.
Celine.
Yeah.
Maybe to Empress Celine.
No, just
bargaining chip. Oh, yeah, exactly.
I have my cloak up. I have my cloak, but I don't have the hood up. I'm letting the rain fall into my hair. As I have not experienced much rain, I believe. Back in.
Winter to Anderfell, not really, no.
Yeah.
The citizens of Orlais, as you will see, it is super common for them to have an umbrella with them by default. And they're, of course, very extravagant, ostentatiously colored. You can immediately tell a lot about a person based on their parasol or their umbrella, especially their social status, obviously. So that's kind of cool. And I'm going to say that as you guys are going through the gates of Val Royeaux, there's going to be a couple of people on horseback that are just not galloping, but like trotting down the street. And one of them stops before you all, like tells the horse to whoa. And these are Templars. And they have their helmets on. But one of the Templar helmets, he removes his helmet, and you can see that the person underneath is Sir Garrison Leon. And Sir Garrison looks at Leon up and down, and he kind of gives you this look, that disapproving look that he always seems to give you. It's never changed, even many years down the line now. And then he says, Mr. Faust, back from your research trip, I see?
Well, not quite, Sir Garrison, but we had some interesting information that required higher priority, in my opinion.
Oh, a new form of chlorophyll, perhaps? He says, and he does that little shake of his head as if to mock you.
More in the fauna than plants. Fauna. It's more like fauna and flora. More fauna than flora.
Oh, I see. But you have been doing a good amount of studying and researching over the last several months since you left the circle, yes?
Of course. I mean, I went a little bit into what's the place that we were just at? Navarra. And since they have perpetual light in some parts of the year, it's caused the flora to be quite interesting. They've had to evolve to survive without sunlight for that time. I'm sure that you'd love to read all about my research notes. You've always been so involved in my education.
Why, yes, actually, I would. May I take a peek at the notes that you've gathered so far? He asks.
Sure. I pull out the research notebook, not the one that's for daily notes, but like, it's like green.
Okay.
Green bound.
Now, yes, and out of character, genuinely, how much notes do you think you actually took down during your research? Because it is research with quotes. So how much did you actually take?
Half as much as what should probably have been there, but there's enough fluff in there that unless he's really trying to go through it,
From a glance, it's wordy and flowery enough that it's fine, but if you look at what's the substance of being said, it's there's not much.
Okay. Roll a deception, just because I want to see how well your notes can fool Sir Garrison.
Okay.
Roll me a deception. And no, I don't think anyone can assist him on this. It's just what his notes are.
11.
11.
Did not roll very well.
All right. Well, let me roll. He's a Templar, so he can kind of see past BS. Okay, he's semi good at that. Okay, he's gonna go read, skim, not thoroughly read, skim through, and he says, by the pure length of this, it doesn't seem like as many notes as one would normally be taking amount-wise, quantity-wise, for as long as you've been gone.
Yes, but that's part of the reason why I've returned so early, is because I found some interesting information that would require other scholarly research, and so I'm coming back to the Circle, which of course has the best information and books and learned people here that, I could inform myself more so that I can improve the Circle's standing.
Roll a bluff or another deception. Yeah.
17 with 3 stunt points.
Okay.
Oh, can I use a stunt? Because there's a
Yes.
stunt specifically for this.
Yes. What is a stunt?
There's like stun silence, but I don't know if I have enough for that. Yes, I have just enough for stun silence.
Okay. And what does that mean?
You are so impressive that you leave those who witness your display completely dumbfounded and unable to speak for at least a whole round.
Okay. Yeah, so you leave him dumbfounded for a whole 6 seconds. And then he shuts the notebook and he hands it back to you. And then again he looks at you up and down one more time and he says, "You look skinnier than when you last were here. Haven't had as much herring pie, I see."
Yeah, herring's a little hard to get when you're not right on the river. Also, travel does that to you. I'm sure you know all about that in your many adventures.
Very well then. Mr. Faust, I trust I will be seeing you at the Circle sometime later today then.
I've got a few errands, but yes, I do plan on returning to the Circle when I have a moment and when I can make appointments with the proper professionals I need to talk to.
I see. Well, I will inform Sir Trevelyan, Nazim's last name, out of character. I will inform Sir Trevelyan that you have arrived, and she will be expecting to see you as well at some point after your errands.
I look forward to seeing her as well.
And with that, he is going to put his helmet back on, and he will trot off with his horse. At which point, Darren is, kind of giving him a dirty look on his way out, and she'll say, "Yeesh."
I really can.
No, I'm not a big fan of him either, Darren says.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he killed my parents.
Pasha had opened her mouth to say something, then when Leon said it, she just shuts it and is like, oh.
So a true slime ball then. Okay.
Yeah, just sort of happens. But here I am, and I guess I need to write more fluff now, don't I?
If you need help.
Why don't you write stuff about the dragons? You actually did do an awful lot of research into that. You could just fill it out with dragon stuff.
Yes, that's part of the fauna I was talking about, but I don't really want to tell them specifically that we found, dragons, and there's one a day's ride right outside of the capital, and that is a topic I'm going to have to broach with the Circle, though, so how much should I disclose before,
Probably don't tell them about the murmuring.
That we're connected somehow.
Seems, you need to give the whole evidence, which would include, your parents' stuff.
Yeah. I could just say that we found dragons. I'm sure Master Ignaldo would be happy to show them a dragon skull that we collected.
It was, their bodies disappeared, and it was a strange occurrence that you had to research and see if there was any correlation in the Pentagast library.
So, so you guys will now make your way into Valroyo proper and head over to the university, and I think actually this is a good place for us to just stop right here.
Yep.
But I am happy to say, though, that next session we will have 2 very special guests.
What?
Is it Ray
Yes.
Cedric?
The
Cedric and Ganael?
Mr. and Mrs. Ashwood.
Oh.
Cedric and Andrea.
Yes!
Oh no, Andrea.
Yes, Andrea.
Oh.
This
I'm
is
not.
going to be
Oh, no.
interesting.
I did say that Orlais would be both a Leon-centric and Pasha-centric region. So we've got the Pasha and Leon show continues next.
Oh
The
god, I'm
drama.
gonna come up with a fake name for Balin and Fast.
Come for the drama, stay for the shipping.